Welcome to another edition of A Strange New Pod. I'm your host, Brittany Tomes, aka the Board Queen of Puns, alongside the best bridge crew in the quadrant. Jean-Luc stunt double who really did see five lights, Lieutenant Hawk, Rear Admiral Eric, Rear Admiral Eric, who keeps our view screen and comms running smoothly, and also keeps an eye out for that great koala in the sky.
Oh, it's always there.
Always.
It burns.
What does he know?
Why is it taking so long?
Captain Julian, who's making sure those whales are in the correct compartments of the ship.
There are whales here.
They're in the front.
Hopefully. We hope they're there. And the woman who's trying to secure a Geordie bear and some of those sweet new T-88s for our crew, Ensign Aaron. Glory to you and your houses.
Glory, glory. And happy birthday, Hawk.
Yes.
You.
A young
And a
30.
day over 25.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I went older. Sorry. 30's the new 20.
I'm 40 something.
40.
Going
on.
Hey,
Flirty
you're like
flirt.
Picard. You never age.
Exactly.
You just get musclier.
There you go.
As always, a big thanks to Sam Dillard and Samo Studios for our awesome intro and outro music, and to our Twitch collective watching us now live. Thank you for joining us on Subspace as always.
Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down the road and back again.
That's not Star Trek adjacent.
Isn't it, though? Isn't it?
Isn't it?
It kind of is. Think about
6
it.
degrees of
Think
separation
about
from Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, Eric, you
Uh,
got to fix that. I'll edit this out. The bottom square still says lyrical giraffe.
Son of a gun.
Honestly,
For
we can
next
keep
time.
it.
I think she's just here in
Get her on here.
here in spirit forever.
She's off of school right now. She's
It
available.
should be like this.
She's
like, in my
always here.
picture
Just
right
pop
now.
her in. Yeah, it's been like that for a month. I noticed too, and I didn't say anything.
What?
So
I don't
for
even know where
those
that
of you
came
watching, we decided to change up the show a little bit and give some time to talk about Star Trek things or Star Trek related things that we love that normally we don't have time to talk about on the show. It's kind of like a nerdy show and tell for anything that's canon or non-canon for Star Trek, which is like toys, collectibles, comic books, video games, parodies of it, fan art, fanfic, whatever you want. As long as it's not the core Star Trek series or films. So basically anything we wouldn't normally be discussing on our show.
Sexy Star Trek.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
Rule
the
42.
fanfic version, but you got to keep that in
We'll
a
keep-
box.
We got to make sure we're not E for everyone, but we got to stay below that R rating.
Wait, we're not R-rated?
I mean, we might be.
I think
We
might be.
are under explicit, yeah.
I
Yeah.
say
we
curse
say
words all
the
time.
bad words.
Yeah.
That's true.
Poop?
That's true.
You don't have the Captain America button that says language.
No, that's
Yeah,
my
true.
son, Eric.
Oh,
It's
son of a
just
bitch.
Poop everything right now.
Julian would
It's
have to use it
horrible.
on me every 2 seconds.
It would be like it's Star Poop. The Final Frontier is like that. What my son
I
says.
understand.
Yeah, I figured.
But before we do all that, Julian, how can we get people to access the awesome bonus podcast stickers, pins, etc.?
Oh, so I don't get to do this very often. You can join our Patreon. It's super cool. You can either go to our website and we have the Patreon logo and our little tab pretty much anywhere on the podcast, including at the bottom of every single episode page. So you can go to strangenewpod.com. That's simple and go that way. Or you can go to Patreon and search for us there. And there's multiple tiers. $1 a month, $2 a month, starting at our lower decks. Those guys are awesome. And then the $5 tier, which is our I forget which ones that's called. It's been a while. The Ready Room, right? Or no,
That's
$2.
the Cerritos Lounge.
$1 is lower decks, 2 is Ready Room, and 5 is the Cerritos Lounge, and then 10 is our 10 forward. I made these. I should know this by heart. And you get, like Brittany said, access to awesome bonus podcasts like Drunk Space 9, which we're going to be recording a very special episode. I'll be in California, and me, Aaron, and Giraffe will all be together, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, join our Patreon. You can start right at the $2 a month tier. That gets you access immediately to past episodes of Drunk Space 9 as well as future ones. You go $3 more, you get Aaron's awesome drink videos. You go $5 more, you get these awesome pins that Eric has been designing, which I have right near me. This was the last one for Pride Month. It's a little hard to see with my background, but it's awesome. And
The next one is Vulcan theme.
Yeah, 8-bit
Ooh.
Enterprise one. He does a great job with those. We have fun stuff coming up, and I'm
Julian,
guessing.
what about that cool shirt you're wearing?
Well, this is merch. That's a whole
Yeah,
nother
but you get a
story.
discount if you
get
join our
discounts
Patreon on that
merch
merch.
at your level, and this is one of our awesome shirts.
Deals
And,
even a Ferengi would love.
Yeah. Not it doesn't cost you too much latinum. Another thing I want to say about our Patreon real quick is that as things keep getting more and more back to normal, I'm sure that we're gonna have perks and stuff that also coincide with like events happening, like conventions and things like that. I know that as more information comes out about Mission Chicago, we're going to be planning stuff for that and probably some even more special things for our patrons. So if you can't join, if you can't join our Patreon and support the show financially, we'd love to leave us, not you. We can't really review you guys. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps get the show out there and known to everyone, or just on our website. It's super easy now. You can go on our website and just leave us a review right there. So strangenewpod.com. And that is the end of my support our show spiel.
Speaking of wonderful patrons, Aaron, would you like to give our special thanks?
I would love to. Thank you to our Patreon patrons, Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett, Anne Bradley, Spotted Giraffe, Rob, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Noe Santos, Kang Wee, JD, Takako Nagumo, is it Kara? I always want to say Kara because of BSG.
Kara Kennedy, sure.
Mark, Dana Pearson, Fernando Nogales, and SMK. Thank you guys.
I'm pretty sure that's pronounced Smuk.
Smick.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna give him the
and
old
Gen,
salute.
Eric.
And Gen Stein. I should say Gen Steen, just to get both of them wrong.
Oh, don't. Before we move on, there was a bunch of news that just happened in the last 24 hours to 48 hours. So I'm going to give those announcements real quick. So first up, we had the 55th anniversary of Star Trek, and it announced that the director's edition of Star Trek the Motion Picture is getting a full 4K HDR restoration that will be streamed on Paramount Plus. And this movie has always been a hot subject for Trek fans. You know, everybody's got their hot frakes on this. But one thing can be said about the film without much controversy is that it's beautiful at least and deserves restoration, like all good films, right?
Right,
So when this comes out, we'll probably be doing a show on it.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for the 3-hour cut of them just looking at the ship.
Right?
In 4K, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually looking forward to that the most.
That makes
like
it
no
worth it.
I
bullshit.
haven't seen it.
Flyby the whole movie's just a flyby.
And Light says 4K Starship Trek porn. All we need. Speaking of porn, Star Trek porn, there it is. Just watch the motion picture. It's all you need.
Whoa.
Hey, that might be somebody's thing they want to share today.
Yeah.
Star Trek adjacent.
Tell us about your
Um,
fan fiction that you're reading, everybody.
How many tabs do you have open?
Well, let me just. Never mind.
I wish I knew more about fanfic. That's all I could think of. What's up?
I
was
could.
just counting my tabs.
Speaking
Oh,
of
she was
fan
counting her
fiction,
Mhm.
ever think about crossing over Stargate and Star Trek and having Vala and Vosh? Because that would be an interesting combination. Boom.
Vosh Pit. Let's
Vosh
go.
Pit with Vala Maldoran.
I bet
Love it.
that exists.
Somebody
It
probably,
probably
wrote it.
does. It probably does.
I'm gonna have to do research later. Just Google. So on top of that, we'll also be getting a 4K box set on September 7th, featuring the first 4 TOS films. Now that's a bit of a curious decision because it's no secret that Star Trek V is widely disliked by Trek fans. But even still, why omit 5 and the widely beloved Star Trek 6 from this box set?
They're probably
Or even
gonna
more so,
yeah.
why add the motion picture to this and not just make the box set a Spock trilogy?
They'll probably do the first 4 and then the last, like the rest going up to Generations.
Probably.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to do it this way.
No, it doesn't.
It
But they
makes
get
no
more money.
sense.
That's the reason we can.
And that's
keep
what
making
makes me
different
not
sets.
that makes me not want to buy them because like the
Oh,
order
you'll buy
doesn't make
them.
You
I don't
will.
know if
You'll
no I
buy
really don't
them.
know if I will. I'll if they do like a steelbook of the motion picture 4K restoration, I'll definitely get that.
Mhm.
But like, okay, we were talking about it last night. If this is Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and Voyage Home in a 4K restored box set, easy decision, bought, purchased, done.
Mhm.
But like adding motion picture in there doesn't make sense. And then Star Trek 6 is one of people's favorite Star Trek movies. So to not and what's even more kind of dumbfounding to me is that they're calling this the first 4 original movies. And I'm like, but there's 6 original movies. So I'm just I don't get the the mindset here.
Yeah, they'll probably
They're
release
gonna
the
put them out in DVD sets of 4.
so they'll release the first set, the second set, and then the full set, just so that they get more money. It would be
Yeah.
4 and 3,
So hold out for the 4K
4,
Steelbook
3,
full
and then 7, I guess.
It'd be like
they
4,
only
4, and 3. Because
Well-
if you look,
4, 3, and 4, 3, and
well, it'd be 1 through 4,
Mhm.
and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's only
Wait.
3.
would you put 8 in there? Because
Oh wait, 11 doesn't even exist. I'm sorry. So there's 10 movies.
isn't 8 First
8 is First
Contact?
Contact,
Because you'd want First Contact and then Insurrection and Nemesis.
and that's it as a set,
Yeah.
right? Or Generations in that.
Generation.
I do.
We'll find out when they're released. Don't worry, guys. And we'll probably end up buying them anyway, even if we regret it.
And then the 8K comes out.
Exactly.
Oh God.
fuck
8K
is
is a
8K?
lie. It's a lie, is what it is. It's a lie.
That's when they
Finally,
just beam you up.
that is when you're just right on the ship. You can smell everything.
Ooh.
Finally, the coolest news of the week: filming on season 1 of Strange New World started up yesterday, and we got this awesome quote from Anson Mount. Quote, "Old school fans are going to be very excited to see what we're going to pull off with this one. Getting to do many things I've never attempted as an actor. So much fun."
I just want to correct you real quick. Season 1 has been filming.
Finished,
The
right?
season 1 finale. This is the filming on the finale.
Oh, I read it wrong.
It's okay.
My bad.
I saw a
We
bunch
know
of
they've
their
been filming.
I saw a bunch of their
What happens when there's
trucks
too much news?
driving by
Nice.
not too long ago.
Vroom vroom.
Yes.
So if that news doesn't already make you excited for the show, we don't know what will. But the recurring thing we're getting with Strange New Worlds is going to be the fact that they're going to find a way to pull in these old school fans who didn't quite jump on the Kurtzman train back to the franchise, or at least that's what they're hoping to do. So we also got some awesome behind-the-scenes filming shots from the director of photography, Magdalena Gorka, who gave us a glimpse of the updated bronze gold-plated Enterprise dedication plaque, which was later taken down.
Oh.
It's pretty. It's really pretty.
Pretty.
Gorgeous.
It's she was actually really sweet because we reposted it to our Insta. She was like, I don't know if I was supposed to post this. Can you take it down? Sorry. I can let you know when it's okay to put it back up. I was like, totally, it's fine. We understand.
You should have said
Um,
it was star fleeting.
Just shut up.
Oh
welcome.
boy. Oh boy.
Didn't you guys miss me hosting?
Not really, no. Gotta admit. No, kidding. Love you. I just want to read on Twitch here real quick. NY Light says, going back to our why the box sets are the way they are. He thinks put 5, 6 and Generations together so we can watch Kirk sing by a campfire, fight in an ice prison, and die in a stupid way.
It's valid.
There you go. I actually think that's not a bad idea.
It'll be the Kirk
God.
collection.
Yeah.
So I think that's everything for news for now, but you never know. In the next 5 minutes, Star Trek could announce something else because this has been like the year of news. So it's time for the strange new loop. I know we're kind of doing like a loopy episode to begin with, but I want to ask all of you and everybody in the Twitch chat live right now, if you could make any non-canon Star Trek thing canon, what would it be? So I have a few examples here, like it could be a fan theory that you just really like that you wish was true, or you hope that'll be true, something you always wanted for a specific character, or like a really cool collectible or fan art that you saw somebody make and you like wish was a thing like for sure in a show, etc. But more than that, I'll give you guys time because this is a
That's
hard
rough. That's a hard question.
one, right? Someone's
I have
gonna
one
immediately
off.
be like,
I have one right off the bat, and it's a new one.
Ooh.
I will say up until Lower Decks came out, I would have said like the Titan design because it's clear and obvious, and everybody wanted that to like be the canon design of a ship because we all know that the Titan was canon, but we actually never got to see the ship except for Star Trek Online and on the novel book. So they made that design canon, which is amazing. But that was it for a long time. And then I read Una McCormick's Picard book, the first Picard book, and like in the first chapter, when John Luke is being offered this admiral position to lead the Romulan refugee crisis, he's like, well, or I think Starfleet commands like, well, who's going to captain the Enterprise? And John Luke just immediately says Worf, and everybody's like, huh, that's actually not a bad idea. And then like I think it's like the one admiral who tells him to shut the fuck up in season 1 a bunch of times.
mhm.
It's like, but doesn't he have like that black mark on his record because he rescued Jadzia instead of like completing the mission, which would prevent him from getting command? And Starfleet Command was like, yeah, but like we all have those black marks in our record.
That's not the
and-
worst thing anyone's
No,
ever done.
definitely
No.
Like
not.
to err is
Well,
to be
the thing is, it's
Klingon.
they were trying very clearly to be like, okay, we're gonna kind of make what Cisco said to him go out the window and put it in this book and make it okay. But we don't know if the Picard books are canon. I'm guessing that there's going to be an announcement sometime this year that these tie-in novels are going to be considered canon. But for now, I don't think they are. So I will say, Worf, captain of the Enterprise during
Love
that era,
it.
during the Romulan refugee crisis, because it makes sense. And the admirals say it. They're like, listen, having Worf in command of the Starfleet flagship can do nothing but like help Starfleet Klingon relations. Like you can't make it any better than that. So Captain Worf.
that,
And I
I'd
want that
say-
TV show, damn it.
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing about that TV show in my timeline.
That
Yeah.
would be cool.
It's just a fan theory right now, isn't it?
Is it worth
Yeah.
it? Can you work it? Drop that Klingon down, flip it, and reverse it. It's gonna happen. Speak it into existence, Julian. It will happen.
Done.
Oh,
Who's next?
this is so hard. I think it's a weird question. Something that's not canon, but you want to be canon.
And the hard part is,
Like-
like, you've seen a lot, and we discuss it all the time. Like in Discord and stuff, you're always like, "Oh, I wish this was a thing," whatever. But like in the moment, you can't think about
Yeah,
it.
I have a fun, silly one. So back in, I think it was like 2012, IDW did a comic book series where the Doctor from Doctor Who crosses over onto Star Trek:
Yeah.
The Next
I remember that.
Generation, and it's such a fun, silly adventure that I would just love to see the Doctor, Rory, and Amy, yeah,
Amy Pond.
Amy Pond.
Amy.
show up
Amelia.
on those wood panel ship.
Yeah.
Man, so fun.
Dang, now I can't bring up mine
Oh no.
because I have the X-Men Star Trek crossover.
That was my other one. I was thinking about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was 90s X-Men too, so it was all like super
I
colorful
know.
ones.
It's
Yes.
so good. I have a backup though. I have a backup if nobody says it.
Are people still deciding? Should I read some Twitch ones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
read some
read
Twitch
some
ones to fill in the
yeah.
time.
So Talix said, or sorry, let me read Joe's first. The shield belts from the animated series. I don't know what that is because I've never watched the animated
That
series.
actually
It's the
sounds
only
amazing.
Star Trek I've never seen. Talix says New Frontier. I started reading the New Frontier books. I never finished them. They were fun. And then I believe Commander Shelby is one of the stars of that book series. And then Rob wrote, I wish we'd been able to see the Doug Drexler proposed refit of the NX. That could have happened in Enterprise season 5. Don't we all? Most of Enterprise sucked, but it started to be okay in season 4, and season 5 was looking like it would be better still.
Mhm.
Yeah, not wrong, friend. Not wrong. And then Dax Pseudo says, I've always wanted to see the Captain Braxton and the Time Wars, kind of like how Loki has a secret timeline and the Time Lords. So
Cool.
Takako says Missy Elliott.
That was
Yeah, Missy Elliott for the win.
Oh,
you
your
warp
song.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah. So I have more, but if
I
you
love
guys
how you
want
were
to
like,
go, I
Missy
can go back
Elliott's
to them
gonna
later.
join the cast.
I was like,
Okay,
that
I've got
would be
one.
interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just lost it. What was I gonna say? Holy shit.
Missy Elliott as an admiral. That's
The
that's where you're going.
I don't watch that
Wait, no,
series.
I got it. Ron Moore running Voyager, the show.
Ah.
What that would have been.
Oh,
The year of hell would have been also
Would have
also.
been the year
Would have
hell
been
the
a whole
season.
season.
Yeah.
Would have been everything.
I was actually debating, Aaron. It's funny you brought that up because I was debating talking like as my Trek adjacent thing about Battlestar tonight. And I'm not going to, but
Ooh.
because while that show is darker than anything like we ever saw on Star Trek, it is so like it's taken from things that he wanted to do on Trek. And I mean, oh man, that show is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They had him trek too many boxes. You know, he couldn't just do his own.
I don't know what this button does. What's this one? Let's see.
Let me know.
Get off my
There it is.
There.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's solid.
I assumed it was the poop button.
I don't have that one yet.
Ooh, button.
All I want to do.
So who's going? Should I read more
A
Twitch?
giant woman. Yeah. Does anybody else want to go? Because I have my backup one.
It would be amazing if the Orville crossed over on Star Trek.
I'd watch that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They
That
could
would
do it.
be. Wait, now does Orville cross into Star Trek or does Star Trek cross into Orville?
Both. They
'cause-
each have an episode where they cross over.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's the
That-
best of the
very
cross-
different
This is the way.
shows.
Fun fact time.
Fun fact time.
You didn't say it, but I'm stealing it. The Orville is the television series shown on Earth, like at Starfleet, like to the people of Earth. And one day they'll just be like showing an episode of Star Trek, and someone will be watching the Orville, and there it is, done. I
I
love
like
it.
that. It's very Inception.
Yeah, that's
Very
perfect.
easy.
It's the historical documents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I love it.
Do it, Hawk.
Okay, my backup.
I
My
guess-
backup
yeah. You got your backup?
is Harry Kim gets promoted.
Yes.
It's the easiest thing we all say we want all the time. And when this question comes up, we're like, if I can make one thing canon, it's Harry
Let
Kim.
him be a lieutenant, damn it.
Let him be a captain at this point.
And
My
Wyrell
God.
like literally said the same thing. Canonize the Voyager post-return novel so Harry can finally get promoted.
My
Yeah,
God.
for real. That was my backup.
It's like Will Wheaton
Hawk.
getting promoted instead of getting a paycheck
A
raise.
raise.
Traveling.
Read that.
Man.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So for some sort of non-canon thing, I'd like to see canon. It would either involve the further exploits of lore.
I was gonna say
Or-
Kanan is in Star Wars Rebels.
That's
Kanan
what I
Jarrett.
heard too. I was like,
Kanan
Kanan. Bring him over
That'd be amazing.
Or-
Hawk's like, I'd like to see an actual canon canonized.
with a lightsaber in Star Wars. Pew, 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 pew.
Maybe. Go ahead. Sorry, I just had to.
That's okay. It either be like the ongoing, some in between stories involving lore and what he was up to in that, or as an alternate, maybe continue on with the story of B4.
Oh yeah.
Have a crossover, like probably maybe like see if like him meeting up with Bruce Maddox leads to some of that work that we saw in Picard and that to the forming of the new sentient AI.
I'd ask for 2 episodes, one that's before and one that is after. Just a good,
Get off
good
my-
2-part.
I will say though, with lore, you're never gonna be at a bore.
No,
I love lore and I love puns. Well done, guys. Well done.
Yeah.
I think everybody answered.
I think everybody did answer.
Well done. And if anybody else says something in the Twitch chat, we can always throw it in later on. But now it's time to get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. I'm so excited for. This episode is
Potatoes.
called 6
Boil 'em.
Degrees of Trek
Mash 'em.
Fixation. So
We're
you
gonna
know.
stew.
Oh God. You know I need.
Sorry, Britt.
You ruined my reveal. Anyway, audience, the episode is called 6 Degrees of Trek Fixation because we're going to talk about our fave Trek adjacent fixations. So up first is Hawk.
yeah. So I finally get to talk about the Orville.
Yay!
Everybody had since 2017 and on, and that I know at least like several people have been telling me that this is the best Trek on television. That Schaus was a big
Schaus was a big one.
he was a big proponent of the show, and that I never got around to seeing it. That part of me just didn't want to get around to seeing it because I looked at it and I was like, this has got to be parody.
We also didn't have a streaming service up in Canada that had it.
No, I mean, it was on Fox and that, but I kind of always thought, this is just parody. I always kind of put it out to just parody and that. And so I ended up staying away from it and that. So after years of hearing about it and not being able to find it on any streaming service and that, it was finally released on Disney Plus earlier this year, February 23rd, I believe.
Oh, because they own Fox. That makes so much
Yeah.
sense.
It's under
I know.
a Star.
Anyway, so the entire first 2 seasons are on there, and I absolutely loved it. I was talking about it with Eric on the messages yesterday and that about it. It is a show for the people who did grow up in the TNG era to enjoy. It allows Star Trek the franchise to go on and evolve and do different things and that but gives the old TNG crowd this a great show that explores a lot of the themes that they made popular in that. Let's see. They take that episode like the cultural contamination episode. I believe it's called Mad Idolatry, and that was the end of season 1. And that it was fantastic.
It's a brutal episode of television.
It really is, but it's so accurate, right?
Yeah.
Basically, for anyone who hasn't seen it, you're able to watch cultural contamination take place in a real-time event that over hundreds of years.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in the end, it all ends. Anyways, I won't spoil anything too much, but it's not just a parody show, and that it tackles a lot of great topics, and that the whole topic with the Mocklins and that, and the children.
That's what I was thinking of, not the finale. That episode is a really hard episode of television to watch. It's very good. but
It's very
hard to
good.
watch. Yeah.
And it doesn't end the way that you expect these type of shows to end, because they always sort of like wrap a nice bow around it, and the show doesn't always do that, which I think is nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not just that, but the whole theme continued on in throughout the 2 seasons, and that they didn't just leave the story alone. They kept going back to it, and that, and the whole cultural thing with the Mocklins evolved from it.
Yeah.
I think what's hard for some people is that it starts off as parody. Like the first season is very jokey, so you don't really get that Star Trek feel until about halfway through the season, and then by then a lot of people just let it go.
I think that had a lot to do with Fox. I think Fox, the only reason they let it on television was because Seth MacFarlane promised them comedy, where Seth MacFarlane, what he really wanted to do was pay homage to the Next Generation, but he needed to kind of make good on his promise of comedy. And yeah, I think Admira Allight said it. I could be wrong. Oh no, sorry, it was Joe that said the first season's a little rough. Yeah, it is a little rough because of that. But once Orville gets good, it gets really good. And it is and listen, for lack of a better term, it is a fantastic Star Trek show. Without being Star Trek.
The season 1 finale is probably one of the best Star Trek finales.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, speaking of the humor in that, I found that I've had some of the biggest belly laughs of this year watching just anything involving Bortus and a joke.
That game they play with the captain.
Fetchcom.
I laughed so hard the first time I saw that. Oh my god. He's like, "Oh, this game's great. This is so fun."
I love the holodeck. Speaking, it was going there. It was going there. The holodeck addiction episode.
Yes. How about when Gordon convinced Bortus that he'd look great with a mustache?
Or your background when they're addicted, they're smoking on a cigarette.
Oh my God.
That has to be. That was probably my personal favorite. Is when was Bortus and his husband Clyde discover cigarettes.
Huck would not stop talking about it for such a long time.
But
him relationship kills me.
Their relationship is so complex, in that they are. By the end of it, I was like, they are not a happy couple.
No, he tries to fucking kill him.
No, I know that he does.
Yeah, that's right. He does.
Even going forward, I thought maybe there was going to be some resolution in that, but problems keep coming up between them. That there are two very different people in the show, and the show is really good about showing the complexity of relationships. For one more example, sorry to keep interrupting, but
it's your topic.
The episode where they kind of paid homage to the menagerie, where Mercer and Kelly are trapped in there together. Two exes living in the same little bio container in that together. Oh God, that was
I think the first one where I was like, oh, this is good. Like I generally don't like how hyper focused it started out on their relationship, because I find that to be like old and tired. But that episode was really, really good.
Brittany already said sounds good to me, but Joe had recommended we do an Orville watch along for Brittany since she's never seen it, which I'm totally down for.
Yeah, down
I'll
for
do
that.
It just means I can push back watching Enterprise another month.
There you go.
Where's it streaming here? I just looked it up. It's not on our Disney Plus.
Hulu, because I think it's going to Hulu.
Yeah.
Whenever season 3 comes out. The other thing I want to say, so many people said this, and I'll say it again. It's amazing to me that they didn't get sued from season 1 and season 2.
Parody.
No, for a very specific reason, not because of the parody. I'm surprised they didn't get sued by Dennis McCarthy for the sheer ripping off of the music, to a point where I was like, I'm pretty sure they just played some themes from TNG.
Well, there's
I'm sure they had their blessing, but it's oof.
Did you hear the story that Fox didn't want to pay for a full orchestra because they have a full orchestra on the Orville like they did in all of Star Trek. But Seth MacFarlane was like, no, this show, this is like, it needs it. This is part of the Star Trek thing. And he went as far as saying, I'll pay for it. And then, Fox was like, well, we can't
let you do that.
Yeah, which is a good power move, right? Like, I'll pay for it, guys. And then they were like, well, fine, I guess you can have an orchestra.
Can't make us look like dicks.
But that
we're
adds
already
something,
dicks.
man. Because that orchestra
They call themselves
sound
the
is so
Orchestra?
Star Trek.
Oh yeah, if you watch Family Guy over the years, you know how much like Seth MacFarlane loves an orchestra.
He got money.
Yeah. Joel McNeely is the one who does the music for the Orville, and he's worked with like some amazing people. Even on the show, he brought on like John Debney to come and work on the music.
I love John Debney.
Like, yeah, it's amazing.
There are some points though where it's like, was that what I think it was?
He also worked on the Young Indiana Jones Adventures Chronicles.
Oh yeah,
that movie, that
ones.
TV show. So he knows his TV.
One more thing to note is that there is a ton of Star Trek associated cast and production that goes along with it, and that Robert Duncan McNeil has directed episodes, Brandon Braga has directed a bunch of episodes, Jonathan Frakes, that, and they've had like numerous guest appearances.
I think Robert Picardo's been on the show.
Tim Russ.
Yep. Lots of cameos.
Yeah,
you love to see it.
You do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, the Doctor is Cassidy Yates. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's like it's a star-studded cast.
Yeah, and what's his name? Who made that show? God.
Seth MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane was in Star Trek, so there's sort of that crossover thing.
Yeah.
Well,
he was on Enterprise.
It's still Star Trek, unfortunately.
Says you.
So, Hawk, is that it for your?
That is it for me, and I hope.
I love that everybody agreed.
We should watch Orville right after this.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'm down.
I want to. I gotta go check on my wife.
When we finish.
Oh.
If Eric's wife isn't giving birth, he might be able to watch it.
There you go.
We'll see.
We might have a Starfleet medical emergency and an emergency transport.
Who's gonna turn off the stream?
Next up is Julian.
Hey, it's me. So I'm going to be talking about Star Trek collectibles today, and I'm talking back in the height of I'm going to be talking about like in the height of 90s Trek, like TNG, DS9, Voyager, when toys for kids were still being made with some respect and decency, and toys were being made because like ships aren't being made. Like you can't get a lot of good toy ships anymore. They just aren't made the way they used to. But man, the way that they made starships back in the day for for collectors and for kids, I mean, you guys have, I'm not going to turn my screen off because my house is a mess, but all the ships I have in the back, I mean, they were just so well crafted back in the 90s, and the sounds and the lights. And then Diamond Select did like such a good job. But as a kid, man, Christmas was a wonderful time for me because I would just ask for starships. I'd be like, let me get that new Enterprise. Let me get that Bird of Prey. And I'd open them on Christmas Day. And oh man, there's the Enterprise E from First Contact. And it was just, it was special back then, man, from toys to action figures. These are some of them I have right here that Brittany gave to me that Wade's had. And these were still like really good crafted action figures. This is Deanna. Or is that Beverly? That's Beverly and Will. And like these were still crafted really well. They're hefty. Like if you hit another kid with one of these, you're gonna give him a black eye.
It's sort of crazy because you would assume the nacelles would fall off, but they never did.
No, they never did.
Yeah,
they never did. Actually, it was when Diamond Select started making the new ships that they actually purposely made the nacelles removable, which was a bit of an issue. Like this Enterprise NXO one I have in the back, like the nacelles come off pretty easily. It's not a problem, and they I would actually say look better, but they're still not like made as well. But like cosplay was good then, even in the 90s. Like
cosplay's solid now though.
Yeah, no, it is. But like, man, I had my Jean-Luc Picard red like zip all the way up the back uniform, and I had a big old lazy boy, and I'd pretend I was the captain chair, and I'd talk to the view screen and just be like, "Engage, Mr. Wolf."
Did you have the blow up captain's chair?
No, I
Remember
didn't
the
have it.
blow-up chairs?
I think I was too young. I don't think they had those yet. I don't think they had those when we were kids.
Not
Not
till
yet.
I
late
saw them
late
at
90s.
DragonCon.
Yeah.
People, when you stand in line at DragonCon to get your ticket, there was a guy in full like I think he was like a full like Vulcan uniform, but like Starfleet, but he had the blow up captain's chair,
Yeah.
and he was chilling, and it was amazing.
I don't know if you remember this, but in the late 90s, there was a big resurgence of blow up furniture.
Yes,
Yeah,
So
I
that's what
had one.
I recall.
It was glittery.
It's all
And-
see through.
Oh my god, yes.
The one thing I'll say about being a collector now and being a fan is, one, things are being like, they're not being made for kids, which is kind of disappointing to me. Like now, like the whole, who's that? It's Wolf
In
It's
Lego
Wolf.
Who's got the
form.
money?
It'll
We have the
Nice.
money.
Well, yeah, and now they have like the whole hero collector thing with like the really nice modeled ships, but like they're not
Expensive
toys
shit.
really, like, right? They're really just models. And merchandising from Star Trek has gone way downhill because like I think it's like a company that runs their store and their website. Like it's not, I don't even think really
I
run
think
by
it's just because like you already have like to watch Discovery, you have to use their streaming service and everything like that. So like the
Mhm.
chances of kids, it's not like just on TV that everybody can watch it, and then you have, it's just not big for kids right now. If you ask them, they're gonna be like Star Wars, like they won't
But
think.
I
No,
agree,
you're not
though.
wrong.
They're not
Yeah.
taking advantage of like obvious
Prodigy, watch some
good
Prodigy.
merch ideas.
There's gonna
Prodigy,
be
yeah.
merch. There's gonna be
Although
Well, and that's my hope, is Erin gets what she's going to get. That's my hope, is that when Prodigy comes out, which is directed and geared towards kids, we're going to get that ship. There it is, the Cerritos lounge bag.
this
Ta-da.
Woo.
is awesome, you guys. I got this as a gift from my good friend Julian. And this is like good, solid gym merch bag. You can actually use it. Like that was smart. Easy. Do more of that, Star Trek.
There's, go ahead, Eric.
But even like the kids stuff that they have now is so expensive that it's not actually for the kids. Like they have
No.
that Playmobil set that's $500.
I thought it was only going to be 150 and I was
Same.
going to get it, and then
$500.
$500.
yeah,
dude.
and it's for Playmobil.
yeah.
That's same with the Lego sets too. Like sometimes you're like, can you just make cheaper ones for the kids? Like they don't have to look as good or whatever.
Yeah,
And then it's
I've-
like, nope.
Mhm.
All Lego sets are like $200, and you're
Yeah.
just like, fuck.
And
And I
don't
gotta
get,
put it together with kids.
don't get me wrong, like there's some decent things on Star Trek Shop. Like I got those awesome Cerritos Lounge glasses, but like this is me collecting now as an adult. Like I want kids to be able to, grab their X-Wings and have fights with Enterprises and like do that again. And the only way you do that is like going on eBay and getting old Playmate shit, which is disappointing. As a collector now, it's kind of exciting again with like more like adult collecting type things, like pins. Like Fansets is doing an awesome job with their pins, and I have this like pile just piling up on my desk that I'm staring at right now. I'm waiting for them to release their new pin boards, but they're doing a great job because you can put them up or you can wear them as cosplay. And one thing I didn't do as a kid, even though I had my costume, is I am now getting into like Trek cosplay. I have 3 uniforms that I'm planning on cosplaying, and it's really exciting. But I'm hoping with Prodigy and even Lower Decks, man, like let's get a USS Cerritos toy out there for kids. Like
yes.
make that a place
Or
that
like
that
the
opens
Hallmark
up.
ones. I want a little Hallmark. I want a Shenzo and I want a Cerritos.
Yeah. Giraffe is here asking what she needs to be disruptive about, and we're talking about merchandising and collecting for Star Trek fans not being at an all-time high right now, despite having so much Trek on television. That's my one Trek adjacent thing that I love, is collecting starships and stuff.
They
What
have-
happened?
have-
There's gonna be a
yeah.
Paw Patrol crossover.
What?
I'm down with
Be able
that.
to get Anson Mount with a little hat on. It's gonna be great.
Rocky
I would
and
watch that.
Anson Mount, yes.
Yes,
Down
give
with
me
that.
that.
Dog
Um,
Anson.
They have Lego sets too, not Legos, but like Creo or something. But the
Yeah.
build quality and just the availability is just so
nowhere near as good as Lego.
That's why I gave Julian free ones.
She did. I did just get my Spock Funko. They're doing some Funkos finally for Star Trek with the cat, which is pretty cool.
Aw.
Mhm.
Oh.
So there's things. I just wish I'm hoping that we get more. I mean, listen, like if they don't come out with an Enterprise toy for Strange New Worlds, I'm gonna riot.
That would be
Mm.
crazy.
I feel like it's just starting back up. I feel like that lull they had after Enterprise and before like the JJ verse films really just made them like stop creating all Star Trek things in general. And then like the JJ stuff, you got some things.
Oh, there's a
But
toy.
even
They
then
made a toy Enterprise for that, and like
I know,
things are
but
in a
like it was
time-
just based on when the films were coming out, and they like
Yeah.
only made like they made a limited like
Yeah.
assortment. Not
Yeah,
that
I'm
the
just-
amounts were limited, but yeah.
I was just looking at Diamond Select on Amazon and that some of the Star Trek toys they had, and that they had some really good ones for Into Darkness, like really good like Kirk and Spock design.
Mhm.
Also looking at some of the older designs that they had. They have a 2-figure set of Spock's death. They're total action figures, right? But it's listed as irradiated Spock and Admiral Kirk. And
I mean, yep. I mean, guys, now we have those little rubber duckies that have Star Trek. Like, it's happening again. You got little Geordie rubber ducky. You got
Oh my god, yes.
And I
Uhura
think-
rubber ducky.
But I will say too that I think that places like Etsy are great because I've ordered a lot of cool Star Trek stuff on Etsy recently. Karen ordered some really cool Star Trek stickers from there that we have like all over the house. I have one that I've yet to put on my space bar that's going to say the final frontier on it because space, the final frontier.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Brittany should be proud.
I got Eric the Next Generation Bluetooth badge, the
Yep.
com badge.
That was like way back. That was
It's
ThinkGeek that did
They
that, I
just
think.
know that, yeah, but they just know, like, working in a comic book shop, I could tell you a million times about, like, I know, like, you can tell exactly when certain things are going to come back because of nostalgia purposes, and then people spend a ton of money on them because they're like, now these
Right.
people are adults. Why do you think they're making a He-Man show again?
Ah,
Because everybody
yeah.
who grew up with it, now you're old enough to spend fucking money on it. So,
Yeah.
like, it comes in waves. So it's going to happen again with Trek. It's just like, I feel like if it never would have left TV for as long as it did, it
Mhm.
probably wouldn't have
You're not wrong.
fallen behind as much.
On Twitch, Spotted Giraffe said that she's gotten some awesome vintage stuff off of eBay, which we've
Oh,
all
yeah,
followed
she
her
has.
shenanigans
Yes.
on our collectibles channel on our Discord. Do we have that link to pop up, Eric? For
She was
Discord?
telling me she got the magazine with
The Ebony
Uhura on it.
magazine.
magazine.
Yeah.
Oh my god. She sent a bunch of like pictures of the pages. Amazing.
Now,
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
she's questioning whether she has a problem or not. I don't think you do.
I don't think you do.
Not
No.
yet.
Not
Not
yet.
until we stop
yet.
agreeing with you.
Yeah.
She
purchasing
did
things.
get married in a Star Trek uniform, which I think is awesome.
I think what we need is for our collective to look for a Nero action figure for Hawk.
I agree.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I had the collectible cups. I ended up giving them to Julian from Burger King.
Those
The
are
Star Trek
awesome cups. Well, I'm kind of glad you
I
gave
love
them to me
them.
because I have them. I already had them, but I like kept them in their boxes because they were collectibles. So you gave me the extra set, and I was like, "Ooh, I can actually drink
Yeah.
out of Uhura."
That's
Yeah, a little weird.
Sorry, my cat.
Is it though?
Well,
Brittany, if there's time, I'll go to my other one because I think I'm the only
Yeah,
one
go ahead.
here. Who,
I mean,
here-
everybody can just go. Eric and I are kind of overlapping at the end anyway, so
I'm just gonna keep adding things over and over.
I'll just briefly talk about my other because we did a whole episode which you can go back on our website strangenewpod.com and listen to, and that is our whole episode on the music of Star Trek, where we have I think one of the best interviews we've ever done, and that's with Jeff Russo. I am a Trek music just nerd. Like if I could get the big glasses, I'd wear them when listening to Star Trek music because I absolutely love it. I finally took the time today to organize the Strange New Pod images on my laptop because it was a mess and they needed to have folders. So I just put on like a symphony in Europe, did a whole 50th anniversary symphony of Star Trek. So I listened to that while I did it. It was just soothing. And like Hawk can talk to you all about like Star Trek encyclopedia stuff, and I could mostly keep up with him. But if you have a Star Trek music question, I could probably answer it and go into detail about it. It's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love Star Trek music. But if you want to hear more about why, you can go back and listen to that episode.
that was an
I love
awesome
it.
episode.
Yeah. They did a release not too long ago. It might have been long ago because I'm old, but they released these lossless surround sound mixes. Have you gotten these for Star Trek?
No. Are they on
Oh.
Apple? The Apple lossless?
I don't know where they are. I remember seeing them and I remember buying them, but I don't remember what I bought them on. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Please. I'm gonna have another complaint because Star Trek music is also an issue with collecting right now, and I think that's actually an issue with the larger people who collect vinyl these days, because vinyls come back in a big way. I
It
keep
never went away.
buying. Yeah, good point. I keep buying scores
Space,
on
the vinyl
vinyl. Like
frontier.
I bought the Last Jedi score on vinyl. I returned it 3 times, and it was Skippy in the same exact spot. I got the Star Trek Discovery Season 2 limited edition soundtrack on vinyl. Same thing. Returned it 3 times because people are just buying them as a fad. Like the pressing isn't being done the way it used to. It's just like being done kind of like lackadaisically. So you keep
good word.
getting these records that are just shit quality, which is disappointing because it's really fun to listen to music on vinyl. So
Is it like 180 gram vinyl?
I forget.
Not all of them though. Some of them
No.
are like the cheaper. They're doing lesser pressings because it's popular again.
Yeah.
Sounds rather unimpressive.
Yeah. And Rob has a great point, which I would agree with. BSG was the gold standard for TV soundtrack releases, an album a season, and then a whole second disc just for the series finale. I completely agree with you. That was the way to do it. And I will say to everybody, all these composers now who are putting your music out by like episodes 1 through 8 and then 8 through 16 and The Mandalorian, which pisses me off per episode, stop it. No one wants
Loki
that.
just started doing that.
Yeah, like knock it off.
Anything Disney will do it.
Yeah.
because
Oh, Jesus.
money.
Anyway.
Oh, also BSG just got that re-release. Bear McCreary just did the remaster.
I'm going to be getting that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
God, all of that piano music, just like it's crazy.
Yeah. I love how this ended up being BSG, even though we weren't going to talk.
It always comes back.
It
to
always
BSG.
comes back to BSG.
Damn right it does.
Yep. Anyway,
Well,
that's it for me.
other than ships, we're gonna segue over to Erin now for her segment.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk to you guys about a novel I really like called Red Shirts, and it's by John Scalzi. Have any of you guys read it, listened to it?
Nope.
No? This is so
Nope.
exciting.
I've never
Okay.
even heard of it.
So John Scalzi.
Spotted Giraffe is reading it.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I told her, I was like, you have to buy this. If you listen to the audiobook, it's read by Will Wheaton and it's very on point. So I highly recommend the audiobook. So this book it's called The Red Shirts, so you can kind of guess, but it's actually sort of like a Lower Decks kind of situation where you're following a character and his name is Andrew Dahl, and he gets to his new assignment on the starship Intrepid, and right away they sort of, the book opens and the captain and like the bridge crew basically are out on a mission, and there's a guy who's ensign whatever, and they get attacked by what are basically sandworms from Dune, and
Classic.
one of the guys gets killed like right away, and this other guy's like, no. And they do this whole very Star Trek thing where somebody dies and there's backstory, and the captain's like, oh, it's so sad he died. I knew he was the son of the admiral I used to know. So they do this whole thing that's very Star Trek. And you're sort of listening to it or reading it and going, what's going on here? Like, it just feels like Star Trek. And this new guy shows up to the ship, and everybody's acting really weird around him, like from the start. He's an ensign. He gets to his new station. He's in xenobiology. And everyone's kind of like a little standoffish towards him, and he gets delivered to this station by like one of the bridge crew who sort of like greeted him, and right away gets asked about like, what are your thoughts on away missions? And he's like, sure, fine, that's good. And once this guy's gone, everybody around him, by the way, everybody in xenobiology is just not there when he shows up, and they're like, that's weird. And as soon as this guy's gone, everybody shows back up again. They're like hiding in the closets and shit. And they're like, did they ask you about away missions? And so the long story short of this, without telling you the whole damn book, is that this guy, Andrew Dahl, notices that people die a lot on away missions, but never the bridge crew, never these specific people. And when
Red
they
shirts.
die, yeah, it always seems to be in like a terrible, dramatic, and yet senseless fashion. And it starts to get to the point where he's talking to his other, like the people he's made friends with about it. And then they notice that all of these other people, when the bridge crew comes near anybody, people just like leave. So people on the ship are aware that something's weird, and but it's this whole thing. And so the rest of the book is basically, without spoiling it, is they become aware that they are somehow part of a television show, even though their universe is real. But there's a narrative that sometimes takes over, and you can tell, they can sort of tell when it takes over, because everybody gets more dramatic. Like the captain will be like, damn it, man, and they will all of a sudden sort of be overtaken and do things they wouldn't normally do, or speak in a more dramatic way, or
like sacrifice the red shirt.
Yeah, kind of like that. And so then the book becomes about like somebody dies, and then they're like, okay, how do we get out of this? How do we defeat this? Like they become so aware of it, like they look back on whatever their federation is called, and look up statistics, and this ship, which is like the Enterprise, it's the flagship, has like an insane death rate. Like it's like 400 times worse than any other ship, even like this, like the Titan type ships that are supposed to be out there, kicking ass. And they're like, we can't keep doing this. And so then it becomes about how are they going to solve this problem. And I'm not going to tell you how, because it's even more insane. And then at the end of the book, there's like another sort of like mind fuck about it. I don't want to ruin it, but it's just like, it's very sort of, it's funny, but it's like Star Trek and Inception. And I don't know, there's just, and also it's like Star Trek, but with real stuff. Like there's still money. People, some people joined because they didn't have money. They're like, this is a good job. I'm poor. And just, it feels like almost Orville in a way, like it's very real, but there's just this other thing going on that they're trying to figure out. And when they do sort of figure it out, they're like, that's insane. And they're like, no, but this is what's going on around us is insane. But they're like, but we're in a show is more insane. Like it's just, it's a lot of mind fuckery. I don't want to tell you the whole thing, which is a bummer, because like that's the, all the good stuff's in there. But I highly recommend this book. It's called Red Shirts. John Scalzi has written a lot of awesome books. I don't know if you guys have read any of his other ones. Old Man's War is like my favorite sci-fi book ever. It's been optioned for movies and shows like 85 times over the last 20 years and just never seems to get made.
Like all good sci-fi things, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, this show was optioned once, a Red Shirt show, but it also didn't get made. But it's just, it's just a really good book, you guys. I highly recommend.
Nice.
We'll
like
check
it.
this out.
How old is
Everybody
this
listen to
book?
my TED
Yeah,
Talk.
go read.
This book now, it came out in 2012. Damn.
Mm.
And Scalzi's a big Star Trek fan, so.
He's gonna
If
see
you
a
can't
spike
tell.
in sales tomorrow and be like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, and they
Weird.
even mention Star Trek in the book, in their universe. Like they're not because they're in the future too, but like in doing their like research, I guess, or trying to figure it out, they're like, oh, back in the 1990 whatever, there was a show called Star Trek and the United Federation of Planets, and like they actually go there, and Will Wheaton's reading it. It's like mindfuck.
amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so if that's it for your little share session, it's time for Eric. Okay, Eric and me both chose one thing that overlaps.
Well, I'll do
but
it
then-
second.
Yep, but then we also have our second things.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about Star Trek Continues, which is right behind me. It's basically this web series that's 11 episodes long, and it was conceived as this the final year of their 5-year mission. Basically, what's happening is that they wanted to see what happened with these stories, and it had some, pretty cool crossover. It had Grant Imahara as Sulu, which was awesome.
Grant.
Grant.
And like there were some Star Trek actors that were on it, and it just got a lot of love. It felt like it was made for fans. It was made by fans, and it pretty much just, there's some controversy that I totally didn't realize happened, but I thought it was fun. It had the same feel as the old Star Trek, and they did such a great job. And like having people like Grant on there to work on props and sets, like it looks like Star Trek.
That really looks
No,
good.
they what they managed to do with visual effects, the costuming, which is, listen, perfect, and the bridge. The bridge is literally, I think, right down to like they use the blueprints like to make the set. So, am I correct that is the same set that you can now go tour in New York, in upstate New York.
I'm not sure.
I think it might be. They listen. I never watched all of it. I watched a few episodes here and there, and it was controversy aside, very well produced.
Yeah, especially for a web series, right? You don't expect something to be this good. It took a number of years. Like, there's only 11 episodes, but it took, I think, like 5 or 6 years.
It took a long
complete.
time.
Yeah,
because of, I mean, listen, when you're working on a fan budget and you're putting out something that looks like a television budget, it takes a long time.
Mm-hmm. Plus, they had like Deanna Troi on there as the voice of the computer, and I think Worf was on there, and
Nichelle was on there, I believe, once. The guy who played why can I never remember his
John
name?
Delancey was on there, and
the guy who plays Harriman was on there.
Yes, was he?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I believe he was.
I don't
remember.
remember.
I'm not mistaken. I could also be mixing up with Star Trek Phase 2. Which was another web series, which was like the exact same idea that they were kind of running concurrently.
Yeah, this Star Trek Continues also had Discovery people. Like, they had Rekha Sharma, and your boy was on here as well. Oh no, not your boy. Hawk's boy, Jason Isaacs was on there.
Yeah,
I think he was billed as Jason Lorca, I think is what they billed him as.
That's amazing.
It was meant to be.
But I was looking through my DVDs earlier, and there was something that I totally forgot that I loved as a kid. I was 18 when I saw this movie. It was called Free Enterprise. Have you guys seen this movie?
I've seen Free Enterprise. Yeah,
I've seen Free Willy.
It's not the same, but
I
sort.
didn't think so.
But sort of.
Lorca jumps over Picard.
You can imagine.
Oh my god, he is a Lorca.
Lorca. I got one, you guys.
Yeah.
Woo!
So Free Enterprise is this romantic, geeky comedy of the late 90s. And it was basically about these two guys, one of them played by Eric McCormick of Will and Grace fame. And then this other dude that I don't remember the actor. Anyway, it's not important. Basically, they're going through this midlife crisis. They're both writer-directors, and they're trying to get this film made called Brady Killers, about what would happen if the Brady Bunch,
Brady Bunch were murderers.
Yeah, there was a murderer killing the Brady Bunch. And
I'd watch that.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. The dude that I can't remember his name, I think his name is Mark. Whenever he was in trouble or whenever he tried to get inspiration, he'd go to his imaginary friend. And growing up as a Star Trek fan, his imaginary friend was Captain Kirk. So throughout the film, like in the beginning, you see him talking to Kirk, and then he eventually meets William Shatner, who actually plays a parody of himself, and he doesn't. He's not the person we expect him to be. He's sort of this loser guy who's sort of trying to get a show made about what he wants to do is this musical rap about Julius Caesar. And basically,
that sounds exactly what
it sounds like William Shatner would do.
And it's just a funny movie. It's about fandom and like the love of this person, but also this character. And it was done with a lot of what we felt like as kids. Like we would think about these characters and what it would be like to be friends with them. And then, sometimes when you meet them, it's even better.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's worse.
And sometimes it's worse. A lot of times it's worse.
A lot of times you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Bye.
Having met a number of these people, yes, I
I live in Los Angeles, I know.
I used to work conventions and
she's like, I go to the gym with some of these people.
Yeah, it's true.
The nicest.
What kind of gym do you think I go to?
I was just joking because remember you go to the same gym as Blair Herter, who's a good person.
Yeah, well, he's the biggest nerd on the planet. So.
I know. I said who's actually a good person, but
yeah, no, he's
Joe
nice,
says,
but he's evil.
Joe says never meet your heroes, but I'm going to bring it back around to Stargate and Battlestar again because the nicest actors and the most amazing people I've ever met from fandom are the Battlestar and Stargate actors. They are the nicest fucking people in the world.
Awesome.
Aaron Douglas is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Tori Higginson, Michael Hogan, God bless his soul because he's not dead, but he's still in kind of rough shape from his accident. Like
Tomoa's amazing as well.
Tomoa's amazing. Michael Hogan came to Aaron, one of the Sci-Fi Hero parties, and we had gotten a cake for him made with him, like a silhouette of him with like the eye patch, and it says "So say we all." He picked it up, he looked at everyone, and then just put his face into the cake and
That sounds
took out
about right.
a giant bite. And it was like one of the best moments
I
ever.
mean, so I'm in this like Battlestar group, the Colonial Fleet.
Colonial
and happened
Fleet?
since like 2000 shit. It must have been like 7 or something.
Yeah.
And back in the day at Dragon Con, like we hosted my group the big fucking parties for Battlestar, like big parties, and like all the cast would come around. And you know, at most things, like people would show up and they'd be like, "Hello," and then they would leave. Like these people got in there, were drinking like crazy, super nice. Like
Tomo and James Callis.
Yeah. Dude, Jamie Bamber got behind the bar and just started serving people. Like he
I've
became the
mentioned
bartender.
before how we need to just do episodes where we talk about convention
Battlestar?
stories.
Oh.
Yep. And then Eddie almost got up on stage and did the So Say Well, and everybody was like losing their
He
shit. He's
always
like,
does.
"So Say-" and there's
Yeah.
like 11,000 people going, "So Say Well." Like it was amazing.
Oh.
I think I've told the story on this pod 1,000 times, but I'll tell it one more time. I think at that same year at Dragon Con, as I walked into Pulse Bar and he was there with his family. I didn't say anything to him because I don't want to bother them there. He looks at me and he's like, "Come on over here. Come on over here." And he's like, "Do you want a shot?" And I'm like, I mean, I won't say no to a shot from Edward James Olmos.
Dragon
What I
Con.
didn't know was a shot would mean Edward James Olmos pouring a shot of tequila down my throat.
Damn straight.
Yeah. BSG
Whoa.
are the nicest actors.
Yeah.
ever.
Things happen at Dragon Con that would never happen at any other con.
So anyway,
I don't even remember where I was going with this.
It's okay.
Nicest people. Don't meet your heroes, or sometimes meet your heroes.
You can. I've met a lot of good people, more
Yeah.
than bad. Anything else for Star Trek Continues, or do you want to move on to the next thing, which is our tag team duo?
Yeah.
And
Let's see.
everybody else is
Anything?
seeing so they can chip in.
Yeah, Free Enterprise is on like a bunch. I think it's on Prime Video. I don't remember where it's live. Not that it matters for you guys because we have apparently different things on ours.
We do.
We'll look it up. It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
multinational podcast, baby. You never know.
Yeah. So the next one we're doing, it was a small film, released in 1999. I had the fortunate experience to go to the Canadian premiere in Toronto for this film.
Eric always being so damn cool.
It was neat. I won a contest. I was like 18 when it happened. I was like, I get to go see this movie? It's amazing. My voice had cracked by then, but it still cracks now. It doesn't matter. This movie is called Galaxy Quest, and basically this movie is about the cast of the alumnus of this old sci-fi show that had ended in 1982. And basically they were doing cons and stuff, basically like Star Trek people. And this group of aliens came along and brought them up to space to try and solve their problems.
So good.
And hilarity ensues, but it's not just that. It's not just a funny like parody of a movie. It actually has a lot of heart. It's pretty much told by fans, and it's about Star Trek, and it's not done in a way to make fun of Star Trek or the fans.
It's so loving.
There's so much love in that show, and I think the heart of that film is Justin Long's character, right?
It is.
Because he's like this little nerd. And I remember the late 90s when people would be on we'd be on our BBSs or message boards on the internet talking about blueprints, whatnot. And the fact that...
What are you talking about? I never did that.
I owned those.
I don't know what you're talking about. What's a BBS?
IRC.
IRC. And the fact that they got to not only meet their heroes and be that, like, everything was real. Like, it ended up being real. And isn't that the dream for us?
Yes.
Could you imagine? When he sits there and he's like, I knew it! And you're just like, God damn, yes.
Yeah.
You go, man. I don't want to take it all. Brittany, what did you love about this movie?
It's okay. I want to tell everybody watching right now that before I ever saw Star Trek, I saw Galaxy Quest. So that's like your starter there. And like, I mean, it was just a fun movie to see in 1999, like everything else that was fun that came out that year, because holy shit, was that a year for movies? But like, oh man, watching it now after being somebody who has seen so much of Trek, like I was able, I've watched it quite a few times in my life, so I've seen more of Trek like slowly throughout, and I've been like, oh, I get that, like let's make fun of this now. But like, it's just so good, and I love how it really is about how like fandom saves the day in the movie, and it's like a love letter to like fandoms that help keep things running. Because I mean, you had TOS that ended, and then people were still having conventions saying like, Star Trek needs to come back, and after all those years, then they do like the motion picture, then it actually continued. Then you had TNG, so it's like, would Star Trek ever have really continued if it wasn't for the loyal fan base? And man, I do love Jess Long's character, but everything, like every actor in this movie is perfect in their role. Like the characters, like I love that they really are this like acting crew that becomes this like real crew in space, and you're just like, they know their characters so well because they played them for so long, quote unquote. But it's like, you think the main guy's a dick because yeah, he's very Kirk Shatnery, who can be a dick. But it's the fact that like deep down inside, he also like has the heart where he's like, I genuinely love this show. I genuinely love these things. I'm an asshole to people, but like,
yeah,
it's just so it makes you smile when you watch it. Like every time I see it, I'm just like, this is a great movie.
At the beginning,
you don't turn it off.
sorry.
You leave it on.
Yeah.
At
the beginning, Gwen, like when they're signing things, Gwen talks about how he really does love the fans, and you could see that, like, and you can tell that whenever you see like Star Trek people at conventions, that you can tell the ones that love being there.
100%.
And the ones that are like, I wish I wasn't contractually obligated right now.
Exactly.
They're making money. They're happy.
Yeah. But some of them are probably like, oh, I wish I just had the weekend off.
I loved Alan Rickman in this movie so much.
The whole cast.
So good.
Like,
but Alan... Sorry,
Go ahead.
Alan Rickman in particular in that, because it perfectly like mirrored that whole kind of struggle that D.L. Nimoy had after Star Trek.
Exactly.
A classically trained actor who could only be seen in one role in that. He was typecast in that, and it made him a little bitter.
And he had that
just a little bit.
Yeah. He had that line that he hated, just like Nimoy did throughout the thing. And by the end, that one sequence where he says the line with feeling, like, to that one guy, Quellic. I think that was the guy.
Quellic.
It's so emotional. It's so good. The whole cast, like Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, who was pretty much unknown then.
Yeah, he was known.
Right?
Yeah. It reminds me, I have an amazing background I wanted to use.
Daryl Mitchell, Enrico Colantoni, Patrick Breen, Missy Pyle, Justin Long, like I said earlier.
The lady from Dodgeball. Like,
isn't that
everybody?
What's his name from
Dwight Schrute?
Kids Dwight Schrute was there.
Kevin
Rainn
McDonald.
Wilson. Kevin McDonald's in there. God,
Yes.
There's so many good.
It's just
so good.
Big shout out to Robin Sachs as Cyrus and that. Like his performance is
Here's my coveted background. Like Grabdog's hammer, by the sons of Orville, you shall be avenged. And it's just like him putting his hand up with Spock.
That's amazing.
It's so good.
What else there's a documentary on, I think for you guys it's Hulu, but in Canada it's on Amazon Prime. I know it's on Amazon Prime this time because I watched it last night. It's called Never Give Up, Never Surrender. And the people and all the the behind the scenes of this movie is incredible. The original director for this movie was Harold Ramis, and he ended up leaving the project.
That makes sense.
Yeah. He ended up leaving the project because he did not want Tim Allen cast, which is strange because I could never see anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense
I'd
for
be
the role.
curious
Maybe he
who
just
he
didn't
did
get along with him personally. I know some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard he's not great.
Not the best dude in the
Fun
world.
fact: his actual name is Timothy Dick.
What?
How some people feel about him.
Fun fact: Alan Rickman. There's a scene. there's a scene where Jason Nesmith has to explain that they're actors to the main alien dude.
Oh yes.
And he's breaking down because he's basically telling him that they've been lying to him the whole time. And when they shot the scene, he ended up having to leave set because of all the emotions he had to go through.
Oh, wow.
And Alan Rickman turned to the director, who's Dean Perso, and said, "Well, it appears he finally experienced acting."
Oh shit!
I love it.
Damn.
But like that also fits their characters so well because like, oh my god.
Yo, I worked background
You're
for a
supposed to
little
pull
while.
your punches during a
back in the
fight.
day, and I've heard people say some shit when people have left.
Yeah,
That's good.
for sure. Same.
Yeah.
It's available on Prime for Americans and Apple TV as well. So there you go.
I ended up buying it in the PlayStation Store and watching.
No, I think
it.
he's talking about the documentary. I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Or they. I'm sorry. That's Jay. Sorry, they.
Nice. There's also this is also one of those rare moments where the studio clashed with the production to make a PG movie, and it actually turned out well. Like
It turned out
Yeah.
fine.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good enough that I was able to watch it at the ripe age of 5 years old.
The right
And I
time to get you
fucking
into
loved it.
sci-fi.
Like,
I mean, I was already into sci-fi. I was pretty hard. I saw Blade Runner at like the age of 3, and I was like sold.
Oh, good lord.
Whoa.
I
Yeah.
love that movie. I'm obsessed.
Oh, that's
But
why I love
free.
horror.
I
I
saw
saw.
him
Oh yeah, I saw
scan in on
Nightmare on
that
Elm Street at
photo.
3.
I saw him scanning on that photo and flip
We
it
gotta
around,
talk to
and I
our
was like,
parents,
"Mom,
man.
what is this?"
Mm.
It's great.
I saw Chucky at like 6, and I can't watch horror movies. It fucked me up. Also, think of how many kids called me Chucky as a kid. My God,
Aw.
I'm
Oh
so
no.
sorry.
That would be great cosplay though.
never.
A
I
lot
would
of
have
people
more
called me
nightmares.
Brittany, like Britney Spears, and look at us now, free Britney,
Free Britney.
still rolling strong. I love Guy in this movie. Can we talk about that?
Yes, Sam Rockwell,
amazing.
relatively unknown.
I love Sam Rockwell.
He had originally declined the role many times because that year The Green Mile was coming out and he didn't want to,
Mhm.
he wanted to be a serious actor. But then the casting director was like, just do it. Come on, just do it. And he's like, you know what? Fuck, fine. Whatever. I'll show my
Get that
range.
money.
It just shows how good you are.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, here's me being a dumbass. Here's me.
I love that
Being an
he was
asshole.
that red shirt, and we don't really see or talk to the red shirt, and he was sort of the red shirt in real life as well. There,
Mhm.
which was
Episode 81. I die in episode 81. This is the exact plan that got me killed. It's so fucking. Don't you guys ever watch the show? No. He's like, they're gonna look really cute, and then they're gonna turn evil in like 1 minute.
I'm gonna die. I'm
There's
gonna
be millions
die.
of them.
What's my last name? What's my last name?
What's my last name? Oh my god. Anyway, it still cracks me up. It cracks me up so much.
And Stan Winston and ILM did the special effects for this movie, and it still holds up today. Like the creature
Looks really
effects
good.
are amazing, and the ships and everything, just like full on Star Trek.
When they scrape it, taking it out of the bay.
Yeah,
Stan Winston was a god.
yeah, yes, he
Love
would.
it.
And I feel like Galaxy Quest, I should say the Orville really took what Galaxy Quest did. It's funny because I feel like Orville is both a love story to Galaxy Quest and TNG all
can
at
see
the
that.
same time in like one very pretty package, and that's awesome. So
Everybody knows I watched it yesterday because I tweeted, "Why is this the best Star Trek movie?"
Mhm,
And everybody liked it.
mhm,
It
mhm.
is in its heart and soul very Trek and about
Yeah.
what makes Trek great.
If you don't like Galaxy Quest, you're fucked up.
There's some.
damn,
I'm sure there's people
Aaron
that don't.
Well,
like
throwing
it, but
I'm laying
fisticuffs.
it down.
It-
I feel
it's
like
truth,
you
though.
appreciate it more when if you're a part of that fandom that it's like portraying. Because there's probably some other people that watch and they're like, I don't get any of this.
But you watched it without seeing
like
any
Trek.
Trek. You liked it,
Yeah, but I had the heart and whimsy of a 5-year-old child.
and everyone else should too.
I still do.
My wife
Um,
liked it, and she doesn't watch Star Trek or any sci-fi. Well,
it's a
I make.
good movie,
I don't make
period.
her, but she sits with
There's
me.
so many,
Make her.
so many great
Sit
lines, so
down.
many great performances. Enrico Colatoni in that, in particular, is Mathazar in that voice he effects for it. You know.
So that
Ben-
voice.
That's the dad from Veronica
Vengeance
Mars.
has come for you, Saras.
You are our last hope.
Hope.
Fun fact is he didn't do that originally, but during his audition, he used to do vocal exercises for acting school, and he was like, "Oh, let me try something," and he did that, and they recorded it, and they didn't tell him he got the role, but everyone else who auditioned for an alien part afterwards, they were like, "Can you do this?"
That's amazing.
I'm just telling you the whole documentary right now.
It's good though.
That's fine.
It's like such a unique voice.
Oh, I don't know how to segue this gently into the Black Mirror episode.
Well, parody, sort of.
I wanted to put these together because they really are like some of the few like non-canon Trek things I've ingested in my life, but also they both capture Trek so well in a parody way.
Mhm.
So you also have Black Mirror, which can be pretty intense. You know, rarely do you get a nice episode. San Junipero. But
Hang the DJ.
season 4 came out so strong with USS Callister. You look at the poster for this episode, and it was already like line straight down, lens flare. Like you have this Kirk-looking Walmart Matt Damon in the middle. I'm sorry, I don't
Walmart
remember
Matt
the dude's
Damon.
name.
I don't
There-
generally like
the
that
actor
actor,
is-
but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, but
Jesse
he looks like-
Plemons.
Yeah, he looks like almost
Mm.
Matt Damon. Like if you squinted your eyes, you'd be like, "That's Matt Damon on that poster." But then you open them and you're like, "Oh,
He is
Damon.
such a solid actor in that. His
Yeah.
he did like what, the last 2 seasons of Breaking Bad as
I believe it."
Oh
well,
yeah.
I believe he was also on Fargo. One
Yeah.
of the seasons of Fargo.
Fargo.
Yep.
But anyway, this guy. So you love to hate him in this episode because basically you have a bunch of people that work in this office and they're like programming games. He's like a super gifted programmer and stuff, but basically like keeps to himself. When he tries to interact with coworkers, it doesn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to sympathize with him, to be like, oh, he's just the misunderstood, loner gifted guy, but also he's kind of a creep and an asshole, so you don't need to sympathize with him. But he goes home at night and basically he enters what is basically like Star Trek Online that he made himself, and all of his coworkers are like his crewmen, and he gets to be the captain. He gets to order them around, do things in charge. And a lot of Black Mirror has like virtual reality and stuff, and it's so great because it's not saying that technology is bad, but it's like we are one step away from doing fucked up shit like this. And
Yeah.
this episode is also comedy though. Like there's, oh my god, I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but there's
I
like
haven't seen
I
it,
haven't
so
seen
I'm
it yet.
listening to
okay.
you.
I won't spoil it, but there's a moment that every time it happens, like it's out of nowhere at first, but it cracks you the fuck up. It involves being like a Barbie doll. That's all I have to say.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know that moment. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the alien part.
Stop. Okay, hold on. I want more people to watch it, so I don't want to spoil it. But if you aren't necessarily into Black Mirror, but want like a starting point episode just to go into as like a Trek fan, it's so good because he pulls off this like Kirk sort of captain. He tries to be like the suave guy who like wins over the girl. It's so good. There's so many amazing actors that are the crew. And then the fact that they realize they're in this simulation and they're not even the real versions of themselves, because basically in the office he was like taking their DNA and like putting it into
Oh
the game.
shit!
Not like
Yeah.
stealing their sperm or something crazy, but like
Hair
somebody
and
would drink from a
stuff.
coffee cup, so he would be like, "Oh, I got their lipstick." Like,
So creepy.
But once he gets that,
Crazy.
he creates these like
Yeah.
basically perfect AIs. And
Perfect
that. They don't
clones, yeah.
even
To the point where
they
you
don't
think you're you.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
believe they're the actual person, but
Like
they're really
Christmas
just a
shit.
computer program. This episode was so good, and that it is kind of the
It's so
flip
good.
side of Galaxy Quest, and that Galaxy Quest was about the fandom and that bringing people together, ultimately saving the day, and that it was the positive aspects of fandom. This is the bad side of fandom,
Yeah.
and that where it's
Mhm.
basically this guy who retreats into this fantasy world, and that because he gets no respect on the outside, and that he doesn't share, he doesn't communicate, and that, and he basically takes out like his frustrations inside of
Mhm.
of this simulation, and
Yeah.
But it's great because we're not going to spoil the ending, but
No.
at some point, the people in the simulation realize what's going on, and you have to see how they deal with that. And
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
the way it ends is some of the like. I honestly consider it such a Star Trek moment
Mhm.
because like the ending, I'm just like, wow, I'm ready for the next episode. And then you're like,
Yeah.
fuck, it's a different episode because it's Black Mirror.
That's the rough thing about those. You're like, oh, this is so good. That's it.
Yeah.
They sometimes connect and overlap, but like you never see the same people all the time.
The main actress in this episode is Kristen Milioti, and
Yep.
seeing the episode through her eyes is really it's easy to do because she's so relatable, and she feels like such a normal person, and the fact that all of this stuff happens to her is so jarring. And she's the mom from How I Met Your Mother, so
Yeah.
Oh.
and
And she was-
she's girl from Once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's the girl from Once.
I was gonna say that first, but
I want to read a.
She's like the best part of the whole episode. That's
Yeah.
why it works.
yeah, exactly.
I want to read a fun fact real quick.
Fun fact
from Rob. Jesse Pimmons is married to Kirsten Dunst, who was in an episode of TNG as a child.
Mhm.
Boom, Star Trek connection.
Yep.
So
6
there you
degrees
go.
of separation.
Thank you,
6
Rob, for that.
degrees
In
of
the
Oh, that's the name of
Trekfication.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Jesse
Matt
Plemons.
Damon.
Yep.
Jesse
There you go.
Plemons.
Well, like
Matt
Damon.
Matt
Damon.
We'll make it backwards. It'll be Manad Tam. He's backwards, Matt Damon.
Aaron Paul's
Oh,
also in this episode just because
He
it's
is
Jesse
great.
Plemons.
You gotta keep it. You gotta keep it.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's such a good ending. But anyway, I say definitely watch it if whether you've seen Black Mirror or not. It's one of those episodes where it's not, it teeters on that darkness that the show is kind of about, but it's not enough that it would turn you away from the series per se. It won't traumatize you.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a
love
list
Black
of
Mirror.
episodes that'll traumatize you, just ask us.
I want the
Yeah,
one, I
we
want that
did.
list so I can avoid
Ask me
them.
to
I
talk
can't
about it
handle
and then watch to see if I cry or not. And you'll know if it's
Gentle
traumatizing.
soul, you guys. I can't watch scary things or sad things.
Just ask Hawk for his favorite episodes, then don't watch them.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that's it for my show and tell. Do we have anybody in the Twitch chat, or are we going to go to our main?
No, we read all the Twitch, so back early on. So
Woo!
Yeah.
I will say, I'm not gonna bring it up. I was just thinking about Black Mirror. Whew. Okay, moving on. So moving on to our subspace mailbag.
Hailing frequencies are open.
Ding. I'll go first with Rob's. The handful of enjoyable Trek video games out there, like Armada, STO, which is Star Trek Online, and the best of all, the 2 Elite Force games.
Yes.
All of which are fun to play. That's about it, though, which is a little sad for a franchise that's 55 years old. Womp womp. But now that we're in a new era, and with a little luck, there's opportunity for Latinum here. CBS
Bridge-
Paramount.
Bridge
Intent.
Crew is actually quite fun if you play with a bunch of people. I really
I
enjoy
like the
that game.
commercials for it.
Oh no,
Um,
isn't that a different? That's the mobile game.
Oh, is that the other one?
Yeah.
and I will say
Yeah.
that I started playing Star Trek Legends on mobile with the Apple Arcade subscription, but I really I stopped playing because of the stupid Apple Arcade subscription because I don't need it for anything else,
Mhm.
and I'm not going to pay $4.99 a month for one game. So I stopped playing, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, the Star Trek video games, and I know we'll talk about this with SMK's mailbag too, is it's lacking. Like I remember the old Starfleet Academy PC game, like that was actually a lot of fun. But I feel like that was like, and then I devoted a lot of time into Star Trek Online before I just stopped using PCs and went all Mac. And then it was on Mac for a while, but they couldn't keep a stable version of the game, so they got rid of Mac compatibility. And then they released it for console, but they were like, you can't have all your stuff if you were a PC player. So I stopped playing. So that sucked.
Hey, we
That's
all
weird.
played Kobayashi Maru
Yeah.
for a minute.
There was
Oh, the Kobayashi Maru. Yeah.
I think Brittany did the best out of all of us there.
there was also a
I
Klingon.
still haven't replayed it.
You should. There's also a Klingon Academy game in the 90s, I believe, that was really good, and it had some of the actors from the movies, from what I remember.
Yeah. I think wasn't that Starfleet Academy? Oh no, I think
No, they had both.
The Klingon Academy too.
Yeah.
Yep. Who's next? Do you want me to take Joe's?
Yes, please.
Love the novels and the comic books. I also am still enjoying Star Trek Timelines, which is one of the mobile games. I love all of the ship models. Yeah, I might get into I need a Star Trek game like badly in my life. I'm thinking about it.
Well, they need to make a
Feels
good
like
one first.
Destiny, but make it Star Trek.
Please, thank you. And I'm starting to read a lot more Star Trek books too, so I'm with you there.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing Fiffinog? I'm going to do SMK.
I'll do Fefnog. Right now, I am focusing only on the novels. I do want some models too, though.
There you go.
Yeah.
Valid.
Smuck wrote, I was a fan of the relatively bad game. Oh, God, it's moving. Dominion War, which had some third-person space combat missions. Always wanted Star Trek video games to be better. Didn't we all? Did any of you play this game? And if so, what are your thoughts?
Nope, never
Which
played
one
it,
was
no.
Dominion War?
I don't remember this
I
game.
think it's a DS9 one, right?
Yeah, I
That's a
don't
joke.
remember
I haven't
this
played
game.
any, but I assume it's a DS9 one.
Yeah, Dominion War, right?
Yeah.
I know. I don't know.
I don't remember this game at all. But it
No.
looked
I
I
feel
should-
like some of these were probably like just PC, and then I know
They
there was
were.
like a handful that were like different.
late 90s. That was all like Counter-Strike and Half-Life days.
I know.
Oh, this actually looks like it could have been fun though.
Yeah.
I
The
used to go
Yeah.
play
space battles.
Counter Strike at Cyber Hub.
Yeah, but
That was
this
the
is
name.
PC only, and that I never had a PC that could handle those kind of games. So
Yeah, it looks cool.
it does look cool.
I'll read Talix. The DS9 relaunch novels continued the story of some of my favorite characters in an extremely satisfying way. I love that in Star Trek novels, in general, they have the ability to go more in depth regarding cultural, biological, and sociological nuances of the different alien species in a way that would probably not be feasible via TV show or movie. Yeah, agree.
Yeah,
I just
totally.
Googled and I realized cyber hubs don't exist anymore. We used to have LAN parties there.
Land parties.
We used to play.
Cyber cafes.
Back when
Basically,
those
that's
books
what
were
it was.
coming out, the only book series that I feel like I ever tried to give a chance were the Excalibur oh my god, the Excalibur books, the New Frontier books. And I like I said in previous shows, I couldn't get into Trek novels, but with the ones coming out now, I'm starting to really
They're
get
so
into them. So
good.
they are very good.
Excelsior.
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 Anything else?
No,
I think we are wrapping.
Apparently,
Brittany's
J Crab
Well-
Sap said that there's a Star Trek game show PC game, and it was hosted by Q.
hey.
That's amazing. Oh, they could do so much right now. Like if they made anything, even like cheap little trivia games for like PS4, PS5, I would buy them. I'd stream
Mhm.
them all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
Brittany
Anyway.
and I had a preliminary talk. I don't know if I should say it because she might not be doing it anymore. I don't know, but we had a preliminary talk about possibly doing a Star Trek Adventures campaign. That's not a video
I'm trying
game.
to think
but-
about it because I'm
yeah.
already going to be doing D&D 3 nights.
I
a week.
know, I know.
Why
I
not
know.
5?
I'm seeing my
Why not?
my work hours are changing. Well, I also have to start streaming again because I've been bad and I haven't streamed since I played Ratchet and Clank like 20 days ago.
You need to play that though.
I've
Yeah.
had life things, but
Yes.
yes, hopefully
Haven't we all?
hopefully I'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for our show tonight. Thank you for watching this because it was a fun episode. We got to talk about Trek things that are near and dear to our hearts, but not what we can normally talk about. So a little bit of what's on the docket for next week. We won't be having our regular show next Thursday, but there will be an episode of Drunk Space Nine, and Aaron and Julian can fill you in on that because Julian is traveling.
Yeah,
He's
so
the
I'm
traveler.
I'm headed on a shuttlecraft to San Diego on Sunday. So what we're going to be doing is instead of doing a main podcast, we are going to be doing Drunk Space Nine for our patrons on Thursday. So a week from today, we will be doing that. I have to confirm with her, but I think Karen is actually going to be hosting that one. I think we're going to be doing this in Giraffe's living room. It's going to be fucking fantastic. And we are going to be watching Ferengi Love Songs, which is a DS9 episode, and it's going to be fantastic. Karen specifically chose this for our next Drunk Space Nine. So it's going to be, dare I say, a blast.
A blast!
A
So you
blast.
should join our Patreon so that you could be a part of that. I'll be getting a video, drink video out Tuesday. Like we'll see.
Whenever I'm at my hotel to like be able to post it, so and edit it.
We'll figure it out.
One other quick announcement before we go, and this is important. By the time there's a noise. By the time of our next episode, we will be ramping up our second big Blu-ray Steelbook contest, and that's our Star Trek Discovery Season 3. And we're going to be formatting it the same way as our Lower Decks contest. So start thinking of your favorite Star Trek Discovery Season 3 moments, because that's going to be how you enter, just like the other one. There'll be the top prize, there'll be a second prize, and a third prize, which we'll come up with next week sometime. But start getting those answers because we're going to be posting that contest very, very soon, because that comes out
My
on
favorite
July
moment?
20th.
Every time Saru walks and does the
Yeah.
arm wiggle thing.
So we will be announcing the winner on our Thursday, July 22nd show. So there you go.
Cool.
And that's it. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thanks for commenting along on Twitch. It was a lot of fun to hear about what you love that's Trek adjacent. So see you next week for Drunk Space 9, and then in the following weeks, we're getting closer and closer to new Trek. So
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
It's gonna be so good.
it's gonna be great. You won't have to hear us ramble about species. Although that episode will come back as well.
Yes.
So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.